I'm Chad Douglas. Our parent company, Sinclair Broadcasting and KHQA, continue to work for you, keeping you informed on complex political issues facing our country. We continue our Connect to Congress initiative with Congressman Darin LaHood of Illinois. He joins us via satellite in Washington. Good morning, Congressman.
Good morning, Chad. Good to be with you and your viewers.
Well, we're certainly glad you're here. This week, the House is tackling the opioid crisis. You were recently in Quincy discussing this issue with local constituents. What kind of update can you tell us now on what you learned while back in the district?
Well, we had a great roundtable discussion in Quincy a week ago Monday. We had all the stakeholders around the table, and for me, it was a great opportunity to listen to them, whether it was drug addiction specialists, whether it was the local sheriff from Adams County, whether it was the police chief in Quincy, also having the state's attorney there, and a number of other folks to talk about how we tackle this issue. And one thing that I learned is that this is really an explosive problem in Illinois and across the country. It's unfortunate, Chad, but deaths from overdoses have now taken over car accidents in terms of statistics across the country. There's about 80 overdose deaths every day in this country, and it continues to grow. But what I heard locally in Adams County and in Quincy is a couple things. First of all, we need to give more resources to our addiction specialists. When you can get the proper counseling, addiction services, that helps with this problem. The second thing is the overprescribing by doctors. Clearly, there is an issue with opioids such as Vicodin or Percocet or some of these other things that are being overprescribed. We have to figure out how we change the laws, how we put in place mechanisms to stop that from happening, because what happens is people get addicted to these opioids and then they turn to heroin. The other facet of that is there is so much more heroin coming across the border from Mexico now, cheap heroin that's making its way up to Illinois. And so it's a multifaceted issue, and I heard that. So we're going to have an opportunity today, tomorrow, and Friday to debate a number of bills in the House of Representatives. And I look forward to speaking on the House floor, being a part of this conversation, taking what I learned there in Quincy and bringing it back. Good. Really three things to work on. Fixing the overprescribing by doctors, giving our law enforcement more resources, and giving our addiction specialists additional resources also to tackle the problem.
Now, besides speaking on the House floor about the opioid problem, you're also getting the chance this week to ask some questions about cybersecurity when you attend a hearing on recent data breaches. What do you hope to gather from talking to the Inspector General and FDIC Chief Privacy and Information Officer?
Yeah, well, being on the Science Committee will give me a great opportunity to look at this issue of cybersecurity. We hear it all the time, whether it's in business, whether it's in government. We just heard it about the IRS. Cybersecurity is a huge problem in our country. And so what I hope to learn from the FDIC and their cases is how systemic this problem is, whether it's the Chinese overseas, whether it's Russian mobs that are doing it, whether it's people in our own country. So a couple things we need to work on. Looking at how we bring the private sector into this to help solve our problems. The private sector, we have some of the best tech companies in the entire world, some of the best private sector companies that have engaged in this. We have to figure out how we can work with them. This isn't something the government's going to be able to solve by themselves. I think we have to work with the private sector, the experts, the specialists, to bring them in to help them solve this issue. But it's something that's going to continue to be there. And when you look at how, a number of these entities around the world, whether it's the Chinese, the Russians, and others, they want to try to harm our system. And it's something that we have to figure out how we get the problem tackled. And I think that hearing this week, today, and tomorrow will help us give us a better understanding of that.
Awesome. Also, maybe on the lighter side of things, Congressman, I saw on Twitter just a couple of days ago, you were working a drive-through window at a McDonald's back in your home district. What were you doing?
I was in Bloomington Normal on Monday of this week, and I got to get behind the counter at McDonald's and work and to see, how folks in our fast food industry, the job they do. And so it's a great opportunity to interact with customers at a very popular McDonald's there, but also to stand in the shoes of workers that work there, and got to meet a lot of those folks. There's a couple issues there. Overtime rules the Department of Labor has put forth, minimum wage issues, other issues in terms of how small businesses do their work and some of the things that go into that. So it was a great opportunity for me to do that.
Excellent. And moving out of the presidential race, you've told me before that the worst Republican candidate is the better option than any Democrat best candidate. You were referring to Donald Trump back when he was the front runner. Now that he's the presumptive nominee, have your thoughts changed against Donald Trump, and how do you get your party to now rally around that candidate?
Well, he was not my first choice. I supported Marco Rubio, and frankly, he probably wasn't my second or third choice, but he has won. We started with 17 candidates. We've been through 11 debates, 38 states, and he's the presumptive nominee. And so, you know, I'm going to support the nominee, and I'm going to work. I think when you look at what's at stake in this election, we're going to have probably 2 Supreme Court justices. We already have 1. We're going to have big issues in terms of the role of the federal government, a continuation of you know, what Obama's put in place. And so, you know, I believe this election is going to be so very, very important. And so I'm committed to supporting the nominee. I want to make sure that Donald Trump represents our conservative Republican values. So I have some questions on that. But as I said before, I think our worst candidate is better than the alternative any day of the week.
Have you met with Donald Trump? Do you know him?
I've never met Mr. Trump, and I've not engaged with him, no.
All right. Well, Congressman Darin LaHood, we are out of time. We appreciate your time for this Connect to Congress, and we'll see you soon.
Okay, Chad, thanks. Great to be with you.